Hey everyone, it's Tracy Matthews here at Flourish and Thrive Academy, and I'm here with Robin Kramer.
Hello, welcome.
Also at Flourish and Thrive Academy, we're the community leaders over there. And today we wanted to talk to you about the ultimate entrepreneurial risk, failure. I have a little bit to say about that. So Robin's going to take the lead today.
Yes, this is my opportunity to actually interview Tracy,
Yay!
which is really awesome. But also, Tracy's story was really the impetus for us to start Flourish and Thrive Academy. It really, and we'll give you a little bit more about that later. But let's dive into Tracy and also what really started and how she started her business and how she kind of overcame her fear and the failure that she actually experienced. So Tracy,
so fun to be interviewed by you, Robin.
I know, and I always learn something from you, so I can't wait. Can you tell us a little bit about failure in your business?
I sure can. Well, I've been designing jewelry for about 20 years, and my first business, Tracy Matthews Designs, was a wholesale business that I started in 1998. Technically, it was really my second business because my first business was really a hobby, but this is my first official full-time business. And I had that business for about 11 years. And one of the problems when I started my business was I didn't really set it up the right way. I didn't systematize it in the right way. So when I started to grow, the infrastructure of my business couldn't withstand some of the difficulties that we were experiencing when the economy crashed. So we had a couple of companies file for bankruptcy, and basically everything just sort of imploded, and I was left with a really tough decision. Do I try to keep this business going, or do I let it fail? And that one decision in my life was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to be faced with, and it brought up a lot of fear for me, and it was also a really hard decision to actually come to an outcome with. So I feel like I know a lot about failure because I've based everything that's happened since that point based on my failure. So.
And I've known Tracy a long time, and watching her go through this was really, I know how hard it was for her.
It was heartbreaking for me.
Oh, and
ego breaking too.
Well, and I was doing the company I worked with when I was at Dog Eared. We were working with a lot of the same companies.
Yeah.
But luckily, they didn't owe us any money. I mean, we were lucky. So out of all this, what was the biggest lesson you learned? And have you used failure to transform your jewelry business today?
I sure have. So I'm going to start with the biggest lesson, and if for some reason I get off track, you remind me of the second part.
Okay. Good.
The biggest lesson for me, I think, in the whole thing, besides how to set up a jewelry business, because I learned in the process of my failing company of what I needed to do. So that was one.
By fire or something like that.
What did you say?
Initiation by fire.
I know, initiation by fire. Well, it was actually everything I kind of learned along the way, but since it wasn't started, set up, systematized in the beginning, when I was trying to implement systems later, it really messed things up. So not only learning how to set up my business the right way, I think the biggest thing is that every failure really, if approached the right way, can be your biggest learning experience in your life. So it doesn't matter what kind of failure you're experiencing. It could be a business failure. It could be a failed marriage. It could be a failed relationship, like a friendship. It could be a failed anything, right? It could be a falling out with your parents or whatever it is, because if we take the opportunity to take a look at what the failure is showing us about ourselves and what we need to learn from that lesson, then we have an opportunity to shine and really rise above. And today we're both wearing our little things from Sapnamira. And my number year is 8 year. So if you don't know Sapna, you should look her up. And an 8 year is the Phoenix, and it's someone who's always overcoming struggles. And one thing that I felt when I was sort of rising out of the ashes in this whole experience and sort of reinventing myself was that sense of almost rebirth and shedding a bunch of skin and stuff that wasn't really working for me or serving me in my life anymore. And for some of you, maybe that's a little bit woo-woo, but for me, it was really this process of reinvention and allowing myself to embrace my failure that allowed me to kind of really face my fears and like move forward again.
Well, that's a great segue into how did it transform? Like, what are you doing today, and how did
it help me transform? Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. So I was able to transform, like come out of the ashes, and realize that I needed to set my business up. If I wanted to still be a jewelry designer, I kind of ran away from that for a while. And a funny thing happens when you're at rock bottom. You kind of really have nothing to lose. So I was at a very personal rock bottom at the time, and I knew that jewelry was my purpose and my passion and really what I was supposed to be doing as a business. I knew that my old way of doing things was not serving me anymore, and it was time to do something new. I just didn't know how. And so I got really deep and tried to take a look at where I was and what it is that I enjoyed doing. And I really paid attention to that and was able to take what I love doing, really interacting with my clients on a personal level, and transform that into my new custom jewelry business. And we're going to talk maybe a little bit later about some of the things that I did in order to have a successful business in such a short period of time. But really using the lessons that I've learned and everything that didn't go right to learn how to do it the right way.
Big, huge difference.
I know.
And so you talked about kind of that lowest point.
Yeah.
How did you pick yourself up after your business failed, and how did you have that courage to start over? I mean, that's huge. And as you said, I mean, you said you had nothing to lose, but still finding that courage.
Yeah, this point in my life, which was about 3 or 4 years ago, was really one time when I was facing some of my biggest demons. It's like I had to change or move in a completely different life path direction. And, I tried that for a little bit, teaching yoga full time. And I knew that wasn't really where I was supposed to be. So one of the things, it's a yoga practice that I did, and one of my favorite authors and like monks, I guess you would say, her name is Pema Chodron, talks about being able to really turn around and face your fears. So like look them in the face and walk towards them instead of trying to run away from them and letting them overwhelm you. And Robin, we talk about this a lot. There's that great quote, I think it's by Fritz Perls or something, saying fear is, I might have the author wrong, but fear is excitement without the breath. If you take that energy that is like paralyzing you and just start to breathe into it and transform that energy, you can use that as a huge motivational force in propelling you forward in your business. Because really, like if you want to succeed at anything in life and have a successful business, successful relationships, successful just about anything, there is a lot of risk involved, and the risk is different depending on what you're talking about. In business, it might be a financial risk because you're risking maybe the stability of a full-time job or a part-time job to do something you love full-time. If you feel like insecure, fearful that you're not going to have the ability to bring in money. Like in a relationship, it might be risking your heart or being like really vulnerable in speaking your truth. And that might seem like a risk, but if you don't oftentimes take that risk, then you might never know the other side of what there is to be
True.
for the two of you. And I mean, you can like sort of translate this theory into just about anything, I think. Everything that's worth having is a risk in life.
That is very true, very profound. And you kind of touched like there. How did you do it? Like, what are some of the tactics you used to now have the successful business that you have? I mean, you learned so much, but like, what really are the things that kind of propelled you?
That is a great question, Robin. And I know we talk about this a lot, Flourish and Thrive Academy, because really it was huge. Like I was going through so many changes at that time, and I found this community of people that just completely changed my life. I think the first thing that I really needed to do was to change the way I thought. When we change our thoughts and change our mindset, noticing where we're focusing our attention on, like if I'm focusing on my fear, all I'm going to get is more fear and more of what that fear manifests, right? But if I'm focusing on what I want, so if I want to get 5 clients this month, for engagement rings or whatever, and I'm focusing on that, or 5 clients for any type of piece of jewelry, then that's probably what I'm going to get if I'm not focusing on the fact that maybe the 5 clients aren't in the funnel yet. So that was really the first thing, positive mindset, and also believing that, and along with that, is believing that I was deserving and worth the money that I wanted to make. Because I think, I was really good at generating sales in my own business. And, at one point we were really killing it and bringing in a lot of money. And so I knew I never really had this fear that was going to happen back then, but something happened when my business did fail. And I felt like I didn't deserve it anymore. So that was the first thing that I needed to address, was to change that belief.
It was the noggin.
The noggin, right? Yeah, change the belief. And the second thing was really taking action, because I think you aren't going to have a successful business if you don't have what's the word I'm trying to think of? If you're not taking action, maybe is just the best way to put it.
Well, you can think it and want it, but
yeah. So if you can think and want it, exactly like you said. Thanks for helping me out with this. But you need to put step-by-step action plan behind how to get there. So if you're not doing that, if you're not setting goals, if you're not creating a plan, chances of you actually achieving those things and just like thinking about it is not going to happen. I think the next thing that was really, and all of these things are tied together because they're not independent of each other. So I want to say there's sort of like a pattern, but they start to repeat over a while. The next thing was really riding the momentum and keeping it going. So when I started building momentum in my business, and it was almost like this like snowball effect, or like if you think of the way a wave crests, like it keeps building until it crashes, like just riding that wave of momentum and keeping things going. So not getting complacent, like when things are going good, you're always looking for the next thing that's going to come into your funnel. And you also, for me, my business the majority of my business comes from referrals. So it was really trying to develop great client experiences so that when someone was having a baby or someone was getting married or someone was getting engaged, that they thought, oh, I had such a great experience working with Tracy. Like my friend's getting engaged. I'm going to tell them about her so that, they end up buying from me, or whatever. So
yeah,
I mean, that's all part of momentum. And then there are 2 more things. The next thing was community. And I didn't understand the power of this until I actually had it. I had business mentors and coaches and consultants before, which were really powerful for me. But I think finding a community of entrepreneurs to hang with who understood the struggles that I was experiencing, and that's part of the reason why the 2 of us decided to build Flourish and Thrive Academy, was because we wanted to build community for jewelry designers, because there was nothing like this out there.
And it's so important.
I know.
It's oh my gosh. Yeah.
So important. So I found this community of women that I really connected with, and I haven't even met some of them ever in person before. It was like all online, who were there to support me and like listen to me if I was struggling with something, and also celebrate when things were going well with me. And I think that's something that we forget, like to have a happy dance and like focus on what's going right, because like no matter what, stuff's going to go wrong. Someone's going to say no, or maybe put all this work in. They're going to say, I decided to go a different direction or whatever. When you focus on that stuff, you start going down the rabbit hole. But if you focus on like what's going right, then everything starts to expand. It's sort of like that mindset thing. And then
you can start letting go of those naysayers and the no's,
yes,
and focus on that. Yes.
Yeah, and when you focus on, we've seen this incredibly, Robin, both of us, when we work with designers and they're focusing on what is going well, everything just keeps going well for them. It keeps building. And, like when they shift their mindset, like things change. So the final thing I think was getting support. So support could be from family members. It could be from mentors and coaches, but like people who are really going to support you. And part of the support comes from community. But I think another part of support comes from working with, like for me, I work with a coach, and, it's really useful. And of course, the two of us work together to support each other. um, but it's really useful for me to be able to, if I'm like questioning something I'm doing, or, not enjoying something in the process, or just have another person to be able to like talk back and forth with. So that could also be in the form of an accountability partner. We talk about this a lot, Robin.
I love my accountability partners.
I know. So it could be in a lot of various forms. And so, basically the story ends is that when I shut my business down, when I started my new business, I had $2,000 in sales. And within 18 months, by systematizing my business and using these methods that we teach, Robin, I was able to have a $30,000 in months of profits just 18 months later. So I'm still riding that momentum wave. Things go up and down, but that was like really huge achievement for me. And it really shifted my belief, like, of what was possible. And that was the start of us actually working together and launching Flourish and Thrive Academy. Okay, so I want to turn the tables on you now, Robin, and ask you, I know you consult with a lot of different independent businesses, and we consult with jewelry designers over at Flourish and Thrive Academy. In your opinion, what is one of the biggest things that you've seen designers either overcome fear, or one of the tools that they use to overcome fear and failure? Forgot to mention that.
The biggest thing I've kind of seen is that really having that accountability. There is the tendency to just keep doing without kind of, checking in.
Right.
Did this get completed? And also to celebrate the successes. I have to say, when you have your own business, a lot of the designers just forget to celebrate. And
it's true.
Whether it's small or whether it's big, you got to be celebrating, because again, that's also part of giving you that mindset and that momentum going. But I would say celebration and staying accountable are the two biggest things.
Awesome. Yay. Well, looks like we're on the same page, of course. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. We hope this helped you figure out how to overcome failure and how to face your fears, especially when you're taking big risks as an entrepreneur. And we look forward to connecting with you more. Thanks so much for watching today, and have an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye.